What's good, guys? This is Vahography. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. How you guys doing? Nikon, Canon, Sony, Fuji. Are they all the same? Are they friends? Is it competition? Do they hate each other? I was watching a podcast, a photo podcast, a few days ago, and Bobby Tonelli was on there. Bobby T, but I happen to disagree with a few things that you said on this podcast. We're also going to get into a few other things they talked about, like AI in photography. We'll get into that later. For you guys to get a sense of what I'm talking about here, let me go ahead and play the clip that I'm referring to, and then I'll comment on it.
They might be part of the sensor manufacturing for that. You know what I mean? Look, at the end of the day, these companies all work with each other in a variety of different ways. It's very incestuous. I mean, everybody thinks they're all separate, but they're really not. Everybody's using everybody's technology. They're buying rights and different, they have proprietary agreements with every respective companies, but they're all using each other's technology. Everybody is. And so, I mean, that's I guess when you go on YouTube, you got all the shows and the hype machines out there trying to, Sony versus Panasonic versus Nikon versus Canon. But at the end of the day, all these brands are laughing in the background going, we use it all. And when you understand that, you realize we're just bitching about small things. There's just software choices or firmware choices. But a lot of the hardware, a lot of this stuff is very, very similar in many ways.
Guys, there's something called competition, especially in this day and age where money is tight, photography work just isn't there. A lot of hobbyists are spending money. Pros are not spending as much money. There's not enough work out there for photographers. We're living in a different time. The word photography, it gets thrown out very loosely in this day and age. We'll talk about that too when I talk about AI, which Tonelli mentioned something about AI. You talk about the technology that everyone's just using the same technology. It's just the same thing. Sure, cameras autofocus. Sure, cameras take pictures. They all have buttons where you take it and you take the picture. They all have screens. They all have sensors. The sensor is not the only thing that's important in the gear that we use. Sure, they might be borrowing the sensor, using Sony sensors. And by the way, Canon is not using Sony sensors anytime soon. I mean, they have one thing that they stand apart from all the others is they make their own sensors, and that's a strong point. Why would they just get rid of that?
It's very expensive for a new sensor company to come in and make sensors for full frame cameras, APS-C cameras, micro four thirds cameras, etc. It's a lot of money. And do they have the time? Do they have the R&D and the sources to do it? Hard to say.
Photography equipment, professional photography equipment is not cheap. These companies are making millions and billions of dollars. I mean, there's no excuse for companies not allocating funds to develop their own technology. I don't buy that whatsoever. They make a lot of money every year. They spend a lot of money on advertising and marketing. Don't tell me that they don't have money to develop their own sensors or they don't have time and R&D and this and that. They can do it if they tried. I believe so, and that's my opinion. But going back to what you said about they're all the same, they're laughing in the background, these YouTube shields are fighting over brands. It's competition, guys, and that's normal. It's not the same. Nikon is not the same. Canon is not the same. Lens technology. My main purpose of using Nikon is I love their lenses. Is that technology? Yeah, lens technology is technology. Some cameras do it a little better than others in certain areas. Others do it different. So I highly disagree with your statement as they're using all the same technology. It's all the same mush. No. It's not. There's a reason why Nikon is Nikon. There's a reason why Canon is Canon and Fuji, Sony, and so on. Maybe you were generalizing, but that's not a statement to say on YouTube because a newbie might get the wrong idea. Say, hey, they're all the same. Canon, Nikon, there's no difference. There's difference in a lot of things. Ergonomic science, buttons, reaction, features. Sure. Do they copy technology? Yes, they do, but they don't share it. It's not all the same thing. They don't go out and have dinner together. It's competition. Do you think Nikon wants to be number one? Of course they do. Do you think Canon is proud that they're number one in sales, the biggest company that makes cameras right now? Of course. Do you think Canon is proud that they make their own sensors? Of course. Why would they give that up? Don't tell me they're the same. There's a reason why I shoot Nikon. And there's a reason why other people shoot Canon and Sony, because they love the brand. But they all deliver different results. Nikon's color science, Nikon's lenses, Nikon's background blur, Nikon's sharpness right out of the camera, the way the camera connects to a smart device, the way the camera performs, reacts, handles, the speed of the processor, how it tracks, just the list goes on and on. And it's not only tied to the sensor. There's so many elements in a camera brand that is not even sensor related. Like I mentioned before, processor, lenses, rendering, user friendliness, ergonomics, certain features, video codecs, video resolution, how the video files perform on a computer, all those little things, the button reaction, the button placement, the button action when you press the buttons on the camera, all that stuff matters. Ergonomics doesn't get talked about, but the first thing I tell people when you go out and you buy a camera is go out and hold the damn thing. Which camera feels better in the hand? That's where you should start. That's science. That's competition. That's what separates the brands. Again, they all do the same thing. They all take pictures. They're all fast now. But certain cameras perform better in certain situations and certain use cases. Now, to your second statement about it's a lot of money and they shouldn't develop their own sensors. That's why they don't. Maybe they should. Maybe they should. Maybe they should concentrate instead of all this phony, bad marketing they spend their money on, these bad campaigns that they go and spend money on. Maybe they should start developing their own sensor. They're not friends. They're not laughing in the background. They're not all going to dinner. They're not sharing secrets. They are different. Of course, there's plants. They work for the companies, steal trade secrets, go back to their company. There's spies in the organization. Of course, it's part of doing business. They don't all like each other. So the second part of this video, what Bobby Tonelli said about AI. Let me play the video.
Right. No, but for example, for birding, right? For birding, a lot of birding photographers, they do use noise reduction and they use sharpening. Now that's AI, those are AI-based software systems that look at your image, reduce the noise based on the average grain or what it sees, and it reduces the noise. And then on top of that, the sharpening. Sometimes they look at this is the bird and they sharpen the feathers and the details based on what it sees. So again, if you say this for wildlife, in birding, I mean, most birders do this nowadays. So then is every image by a birder AI? You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of them, they do this and they put their images up and they go for competitions. It is the actual bird. It is the actual bird in flight, but they are doing a lot of cleaning up to make it look as good as possible. So that is super sharp, super clear, super clean. And the colors pop and everything is beautiful. But you could say that software is AI too. It's not replacing something, but it's enhancing something through AI. But this adds another layer to it, which I think again goes to that question: is now you have to disclose everything that you do, and you're going to give away for some people the software that they use, the secret sauce that they use. Where do you draw the line?
I'm gonna cuss right now, so if you got kids in the room, please excuse them, because I want to make a point here. I want to make a definite point of how I feel about photographers and AI, those two elements. Ready? Kids out of the room. This is how I feel about AI. Fuck AI. Yeah, I said it. Fuck AI in photography. Now, photography, if you're a photographer, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see AI. Fuck AI if you're a photographer. Now, going back to what I said earlier, the photographer term, the label, being a photographer is used very loosely nowadays. With the emergence of Instagram, smartphone, everybody's a quote unquote photographer. What's a photographer in my book? A photographer is somebody that uses their camera to record a moment in time. a real moment in time, not edited. Don't get me wrong here, guys. Don't get me wrong. If you're using AI, if you're culling images for a photographer, if you're editing images for, let's say, a wedding photographer, great. That's your title. You're an editor. If you're taking things out of a photograph that was there before you, when you shot it, and you're taking things out, replacing it with other things, you're an editor. You're a graphic designer. You're a guy that does that. You can be a photographer and doing that at the same time. But being a true photographer, in my opinion, is a photographer is somebody that captures the moment as is and displays it as is. I'm not, I didn't study photography. I wasn't there being patient, capturing a moment. Hours out there in the field, capturing a moment to be perfect in my eyes. I didn't waste my time for nothing for these guys to come in their computers, press a couple of buttons, cheat the system, and pretend that, hey, this is as is. It's not as is. There's a difference between using AI to sharpen your images that he talked about. If you're a birder, you sharpen the feathers, you sharpen this, you sharpen that. Exposure balance. Sure, you can cull the images. You can do that 10, 20, 30 shots in one AI press of a button. Cool. Darkroom techniques. There's a balance there. Okay, I accept that. But as soon as you start adding and deleting things in a photograph, you are an editor. You are a graphic designer. You're not a photographer. If you've done this to images, I think it should be categorized as AI. I'm all for that. AI sucks in photography. AI sucks in journalism. You don't know what's real. People use it to push narratives all the time. This is what really happened. Well, what actually really happened? We're getting to the point where AI photography is getting so good that people are like, is this real or fake? This sucks, guys. This is a dangerous time we're living in for photographers, and something should be really done about it. Just like, copying music back in the day, Napster, people weren't paying for their file sharing. People weren't paying for albums. Same thing is happening here with AI imagery and photographers' work. People are stealing. People are manipulating the image to push their narrative. It's a dangerous, slippery slope. A photographer is a guy that, you can say, oh, a photographer is an artist. That's an artist. What do painters do? They draw all over the canvas, right? That's an artist. We are photographers. We are artists, but we use the camera to record a moment in time, a real moment in time. So something should be done about this process where it nulls and voids your photograph if you edit it in any certain way other than maybe a couple of stops of exposure, maybe some highlights, some shadow, and a little bit of sharpness. Darkroom techniques that we used in the past in the darkroom is allowed. But when you start manipulating stuff to change the photograph to make it what it was not, then we have a problem. Okay, so this is a real problem, guys. You don't know, countless times I've been out there in the field waiting for that special moment so the photograph will be real, not fake, not manipulated, nothing. I don't want to add anything to my images. At the point in time that I start adding things to my images, then it becomes two images in one, a double exposure. You change the church, you change the people in the back. My sister-in-law has a new iPhone. I don't. I have three generations. I'm fine with the 13, but she has the new one. We know with the AI thing, with the click of a button, all the people in the background are eliminated and the photo looks like unbelievable. I have a problem with that. Sure, you're a hobbyist, you're an Instagrammer. It's a feature that you use. I'm not hating on you. That's great. But if you call yourself a real photographer and you spend thousands of dollars in this gear and you spend thousands of man hours out there capturing the best time of day, the best moments, birds in flight, whatever, and your pictures are 100% real, then I have respect for you. I have a different kind of respect for these images. There has to be a way for us to prove that these images were not manipulated in any way, shape, or form. original file. Here's the digital negative. Here's the enhanced version. I'm not a big fan of adding too much color to the photo, making the photo, making the photo HDR. I hate that look. I can't stand it. Too much blues, too much greens, I don't mind pop, but pop is good when it's natural. 3D pop, right, Casey?
They claimed they had 3D pop, and it was the flattest thing I've ever seen in my life. I threw up on my keyboard. So I want to discuss 4 principles of 3D pop.
I heard YouTube is cracking down on AI. They're demonetizing fake videos. It's so easy to make an AI video these days that why even buy a camera lighting setup that I'm doing and, bringing the human element in all this? Why do that if I can just AI it? Press a few buttons, even the voice. You can sound like a radio guy by just hitting a damn button. You can have a voice like this, but make it sound good by hitting a button. You can sound like Jim Morrison, or you could sound like Howard Stern by hitting a couple of buttons. I think the human element, I think real videos, I think AI should just be dumped in the trash. We don't need it. Something needs to be done about it. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with everything I talked about here when it comes to the subject matter here. Again, Bobby Tonelli, much respect for you, brother. But hey, I just had to make this video because I don't want people to get the wrong idea thinking that us photographers and YouTube personalities all think alike. We don't. And this is my opinion. These are all my opinions. I have the right to think and feel the way I want to feel. Bobby, I know you're into the movies. I know you're into acting. What do you think of the new Dexter Resurrection, huh? Man, I love that show. I love Dexter. I just had to comment on this one. I wasn't a fan of the way the show ended in season 8. I wasn't a fan of New Blood. I wasn't a fan of Original Sin. But Resurrection, they got me hooked again. I love it. Dexter in New York. Oh my God, I'm a big fan. What do you think, Bobby? Actually, you'd make a good Dark Passenger. No. Nobody replaces Michael C. Hall. That's why I didn't really like Original Sin that much, because Michael C. Hall wasn't, we had his voice, but we didn't have Michael C. Hall playing Dexter. So anyway, I'm looking forward to episode 7 next week. I love the show. Anyway, what do you guys think of my videos abroad? I have a couple of videos I put out. Paris, Florence, taking the Nikon ZF. Part 3 is coming soon. It's a little bit delayed because I have things going on, but it's coming soon. Lake Como, and I go to Milano. Check it out, guys. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments down below, guys. Very important. I want to know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with me in the subject matter that I talked about. Thank you for watching. This is Vahography. I'm Vahagan, your rock and roll photographer. We'll see you very soon on another video. Rock and roll. Good to be back. Thanks for watching.